I'm going to start by congratulating you on Boy Meets Girl. Really interested to see it. What inspired you to write and direct the story? Because it seems like a bit of a departure from your previous features.
I'm very interested in breaking out and helping other people break out of the sort of the confines and constructs that seem very narrow, the boxes that society seems to put on us. Whether we're a straight man, a gay, regardless of our sexual orientation, our gender, our age, our race. I think at the core of all of us, it's a very unified thing we all want, which is to love and to be loved.
Right. And I appreciate the fact that you cast a transgender actress, Michelle Henley, as Ricky, who's gotten great reviews for her performance. So tell me how you got in touch with her, because I understand it was rather unconventional process.
Yeah, just a lovely Cinderella story that's endemic to the whole sort of story that's within the film, which is that there are not a lot of transgender actors or actresses working in a convention that you can find in a conventional way, meaning calling up agencies and calling up casting directors, as I normally do when I cast a film, and saying, I'm looking for a 22-year-old transgender actress who looks sort of like this and has this quality, and then they say, okay, well, we'll send them over to your casting, because there are not a lot of transgender actresses that you can find that way. So I had to get creative, and I really wanted to cast a transgender girl to play the transgender character. I thought that was important. So I Googled transgender actress, transgender girl, transgender woman, and somehow up popped this YouTube channel with this beautiful sort of raven-haired 22-year-old girl that looked perfect for the part. And she had a YouTube channel where she was talking about fashion, which was crazy because that's what the characters wanted to do in the movies, become a fashion designer. And talking about her boyfriends and stuff. She had instant charisma and was really pretty and sweet and cute and clearly wasn't afraid to be on camera because she had a YouTube channel. But so I got in touch with Michelle. She was understandably dubious because she didn't know my work. So she was like, who's this guy saying, do you want to star in a movie? I said, look at my IMDb, put your dad on the phone, all of which she did. And quickly vetting me realized that I was completely legitimate. And so we Skype rehearsed. I sent her to an acting coach in St. Louis so she could just get remedial sort of acting classes. And then we worked a lot. We rehearsed a lot.
Did you have to do any research regarding writing a transgender character?
It seemed like 98% of what I had written rang really true and authentic to these transgender women who I ran it by. And there were only 2 lines, really, out of the whole movie that the consensus from Michelle and some other trans women I spoke with was that that didn't ring true. So one character says, like, basically, do you like still having a penis since you're pre-op? Mm. And I had written that Michelle's character, the trans girl, says, yeah, I love it. It's not about hating my body. It's fine. And Michelle said, I wouldn't say that. She said, I would say that I've learned to live with it and that I wish with all my heart I was born a genetic girl and I'm going to get the operation, but it costs a lot and takes... So she said, I wouldn't say I love it and everything's peachy. So I thought, oh, okay, great. So I changed that to make it more like, yeah, I've learned to live with it, but it's certainly not my favorite. The only other thing was that in the very beginning of the movie, when Michelle's character, who's trans, meets the same character, Francesca, in the coffee shop, and Francesca's not understanding that she's trans. And Michelle is trying to say, listen, I can't find a boyfriend because when guys find out, but she never says I'm trans. When guys don't like girls like me, and they always get cold feet and they run away. They want to make out with me, they want to go on a date with me, they want to sleep with me, but when they, but they don't want to stay my boyfriend. And Francesca is just going, but why? You're beautiful, you're smart, you're funny, but they're in a coffee shop setting where Ricky works. And when I wrote the scene, I had Ricky come right out and say, I'm transgender. And Michelle told me she would never do that quickly in a work setting where she worked with a stranger. She said, I would not do that. And I said, oh, wow, that's really interesting. She said, yeah. She said, I would need to know her better. And I said, okay, so what about if you then saw her a second time? Like, you just ran into her, and then you talked for a while, and you weren't at work. And she said, yeah, if I started to feel more comfortable with her, and it came up somewhere, then I would be happy to talk about it. So that was the only thing. I sort of separated that so it doesn't all happen at once in the coffee shop. It kind of like is, it evolves more as they get to know each other, that she confesses that she's transgender. So those are the only two things.
Do you think this increased exposure in the media could lead to more understanding and acceptance in society?
Well, for sure. I mean, that's how it works, right? It's like, or that's a big helpful factor. I mean, you know, pick your time. 10, 20 years ago, you know, if you had gay characters in a movie, you'd probably have to have the characters speak to the fact that they're gay. Right? Like if in 20 years ago you had a romantic comedy and the lead guy had a brother, the lead character had a brother in the movie, and that brother has a boyfriend. Probably those characters, if he's introducing the girl character to his brother who's gay, they would say something about it. He's gay. Or, you know, oh yes, no, my brother's gay. Now you would never have to qualify that. If you know, in a TV show or a movie, if you had a gay character, no one would have to discuss the fact that they're gay. They would just be gay. And so I think to start to have films and television shows that portray just sort of much more normal lives that most trans people have in terms of families, issues that that cisgender people have, then that will start to break down sort of the ignorance of people, and then everyone will start to feel like, oh, there's nothing there that we have to be worried about or concerned about or afraid of.
Well, before I go, I wanted to ask if you had any future projects lined up. You mentioned that you were considering doing a film with another transgender actor or actress.
I really think it would be so cool to piggyback on this experience of this film with kind of pushing the envelope even more, which would be to cast a transgender actress in a cisgender part. Or make a movie that stars a transgender actress where it just doesn't come up as part of the story, whether she's cisgender or transgender. It just doesn't come up. Like, there's no need in the storytelling for it to be relevant.
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay.
It's really nice talking to you, and I appreciate you taking the time.